Welcome to
PIA
PIA
2009.
PIA 2009.
2009.
So a couple of years ago, we found ourselves standing right here once before when PD had announced the new Optimum. I understand you've got something new to tell us about the Optimum at PIA 2007, or excuse me, PIA 2009. Look at how was that for a foobar?
Yeah, we have larger Optimums now. We introduced 99 through 143 2 years ago, and they were good for weights up to 254 pounds. Now we have the Optimum 160 through 253, and we've been able to get those things operating really well at weights of up to 300 pounds.
Holy cats, so that's going to be perfect for the bigger, older skydiver.
In the right size, yeah. Now they are good for 300 pounds down to a 160, but of course your experience, your preference for speed will dictate whether that's sensible or not. But I've jumped it at 300 pounds and works real well.
Fantastic. Now, for those of you that don't know who we're talking to, this is John LeBlanc, VP over at PD. And John, you've been around the sport for quite a while.
About 30, I'm on my 32nd year right now.
So you're jumping back in the days of rounds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You've got to, and tell me what it is that you've done, that you do at PD. What's your primary operation there?
Well, my title is Vice President, so I'm sort of like the chief bottle washer, cook, and all that. But my passion is to design parachutes. And a lot of the parachutes that our company has have been designed and tested by myself. And as the time went on and that became too big a job, I've hired a real good group of design project leaders and test jumpers. We have a full-time test staff, and they jump year-round. And it's been a lot of fun. I really love it.
Well, speaking of new designs, I understand there's a couple of new designs that you're showing here at PIA 2009.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us about them?
Well, we have another new main. It's called the Pulse.
Can we step over there and have a look at it?
Sure. Okay. This is the Pulse. It's a new 9-cell, and it's designed basically to provide the experienced fun jumper with a practical skydiving tool that's fun. It's 9 cells. It has a very flat glide, which helps you get back from bad spots. And you don't have to be hanging on the rear risers or in deep brakes to get back. Right out of the box, it's a really flat glide. The openings are fairly quick in that they don't take a long time to happen. It's basically a short snivel and then it's open, and it's flying basically on heading. It's really kind of, we call it a stress-free parachute ride because it's designed to get open, get you back, have a little fun along the way, and then a nice easy landing. And it's built a little differently than our other parachutes in that the top surface is our normal zero porosity fabric. The bottom surface is made out of a very similar material to our Optimum Reserve, which means that it packs a lot smaller. Right here, actually, we have a 120 Sabre 2 and a Pulse 150 in the same size deployment bags. This is a little bit tighter than this one. So it's not quite 2 sizes smaller, but it's about 1.5 sizes smaller. And so that means you can put a lot of performance in a small package.
One of the questions that I've received in email when folks heard about the announcement was, where does this really fall into the line? Because I saw there had been some comparisons to the Katana, for instance, its flying characteristics, and also the Sabre 2. Mm-hmm. My own intuition is that it sort of falls right around where the silhouette has been, maybe a little bit above the silhouette, but not quite a stiletto, not quite a Sabre. Is that a fair assessment?
It's a tough question to answer, but bottom line is that different people want different things from their parachute. And I compared to the Katana in my seminar to show the dramatic differences in the performance. The Katana is a steep diving parachute. It comes out of the sky real fast. The whole goal of the Katana is to have a steep, fast ride where you can build up lots and lots of energy to make this big, long swoop. This parachute's not for that. You can swoop it, but it's really designed to get you back to the drop zone without a lot of drama, basically.
Great for camera guys, then.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Those guys that get stuck in the last stick, you're the third or fourth tandem out.
You just want to get back.
You just want to get back.
It starts with getting open sooner because it doesn't take 1,000 feet to open. It doesn't need to. The openings are so well controlled because of the materials and the design of the parachute, that it comes back real good. Now you mentioned the silhouette, and I don't know if I'd really compare this to the silhouette in terms of performance, because this has a flatter glide, quicker turns, a little more powerful landing. But on the other hand, the silhouette also has a fairly quick opening. It's easy to control, it's on heading, so in that way it's the same, but I would consider this a more advanced canopy. Of course, whether it's a beginner's or a novice or an expert canopy has a lot to do with how you load it. So if you load this canopy lightly enough, you could use it as a novice jumper. But it's really meant for an intermediate or an experienced jumper who's really looking for a fun ride that packs small, that gets them open and back to the drop zone easily.
Fantastic. Well, it looks like a great canopy. I'm looking forward to putting a few jumps on one of these myself. I actually put 750, 800 jumps on silhouettes in various sizes, starting with a 230 all the way down to a 135. So that was my canopy of choice. I didn't ever want to change. So I'm kind of excited about seeing what's going on with this one. Be a lot of fun for those camera jumps. Well, I see over there's another canopy hanging up. You want to tell us about this? Tell us what's going on over here.
Very different canopy.
So this one's made for guys that have got an awful lot of experience, I think.
An awful lot of experience, but experience in one specific area, and that is the discipline of canopy piloting, which I think of as swooping, but these guys call it canopy piloting.
We're changing all of it out. I mean, it's not relative work anymore. Now it's formation skydiving. It's not crew, it's canopy formation.
I'm a bit of a dinosaur when it comes to terminology.
Okay.
But this guy is the competition velocity. And what we've done is we brought the velocity out close to 10 years ago. And it's been a fun ride. I enjoy it a lot. But I can never leave anything alone. So we've worked on subtle design changes on this parachute over the last 10 years. And we've used the PD factory team to help us validate which of these ideas work well and which ones don't work well.
So they've been your test dummies.
You could put it that way. We've got a staff of people that do that too, but they're the guys that really know how to
punch it out.
Well.
Yeah.
And so I can tell subtle differences here and there, but I'm not going to be able to tell which one goes farther on a competition swoop. But basically, it's got some things that you can see: low drag line tabs. It's got a removable slider. We've got a different pilot chute attachment on the top that has low drag. But the real differences in this, also the 300-pound HMA line.
Does it only come in 300, or does it have a 500 availability?
It comes with 500 as well, because 300 HMA is just not a very practical line. It's sort of competitive line only. It doesn't last very long. So the 500 is a little more practical. Some people train with the 500 and then reline with the 300 just before the competition, and then they have their short, glorious life, and then they reline it again in 500.
Okay.
But the thing is that there are other subtle changes in the design here, things that I'm not going to talk about, that really make this parachute really perform well in the competition swooping type of environment. It's kind of tough to talk about that because some of the terms that the swoopers use are different than what I use, but it's really powerful on the rear risers. It front risers a little differently, and it's got a really powerful low end, bottom end on the flare, on the toggles. And I don't want to sound like I'm Mr. Swooper, because I'm not. You know, I enjoy a good swoop, but I'm not a competitive jumper. But I've worked with some competitive jumpers, and we're really proud of this thing.
Well, I think the guys at McLaren that design and build the race cars might not necessarily know everything there is to know about how to drive one, but they certainly come up with the information that's necessary. So that's kind of you, isn't it?
I've got some friends with good drivers, yeah. So I guess that's like me.
Well, one thing I'd ask, when I was down at the PD factory a few months ago, I saw the difference between an assembly box for, say, we'll say a Silhouette or Navigator, and then I saw a Velo box as well. There were tremendous difference in the number of parts and so forth. Is this the same way? Has it got lots of components?
When you look at it, you can't even tell the difference between this and a Velocity, but it does have a lot of parts. There are, can't remember offhand how many parts there are, but it's still a 7-cell cross-braced tri-cell type canopy. So it's either 7 or 21 cells, depending on how you wrap your brains around it. It's a lot more parts. The boxes that we put all the parts in they're about twice the size as you saw. No big change on that. We tried 9 cells or 11 cells that were cross-braced. We tried Z braces. We did away with the stabilizers. We used other different things, and it was a fun ride playing with all that stuff, but a lot of it just wasn't worth the trouble. And we found that just some subtle improvements to, or refinements, I guess, to the way the velocity goes together and make it a good competition canopy. It doesn't replace the velocity, because there are a lot of people that are doing, regular skydiving that have that need for speed, and the velocity is good for that. But for the people that want to do competition velocity, they'll probably find this one is more to their liking. Not everybody, but a lot of the jumpers will.
Great. What is the price point that this comes in at?
Well, the retail price is $3,200. Okay. It was.
There's a lot of parts, a lot of labor,
Well,
a lot of design.
The main thing is it took 10 years of working on it, and we got to pay for that research at some point. And
You mean you have to make $1 in skydiving?
Well, we do have to, because if we don't, we won't be able to do this anymore. And,
right.
and the thing about this canopy is it's going to be very low volume, because there's not a whole lot of people swooping right now, and we've got to pay for it. So we do make our bread and butter money, on canopies like the Spectre and the Sabre 2 and the Optimum.
My favorite, the Storm.
Yeah, and the Storm. But we have to do this once in a while. Like, Dodge and Chevy and all those companies, they have to build cars that they can sell, but they like to race too.
Sure.
And we like to race.
Well, I think that's the best analogy, and when you look at the cost of what those Indy 500 cars cost, they're not the same as your Avalanche truck or your Nissan Sentra or whatever car you're driving either.
Right.
They're highly specialized for highly specialized people.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Same kind of thing. Well, I'm really excited to see some of these in action. I've sort of seen them from afar at various places as guys have been playing with them, and watching the factory team doing some of the stuff they're doing. So you think this is going to change the face of swooping?
I think that the face of swooping will change itself. It's not just all about the parachute. It's a lot about the techniques evolving and the talents of the people who are making just tons and tons of jumps figuring this stuff out. I do think, though, that in the past there's been just a handful of people who've been jumping this kind of parachute, and now that we're releasing it to the swooping community, they will all work with one another to make it evolve to the next step. But we're not done with this. We're not going to sit on our butts. We're still working on other stuff beyond this.
So in 10 more years, we're going to see the Comp Velo 2 or something along those lines.
Who knows?
I'm going to throw you a curveball real quick before we wrap up. You just finished the factory team expansion project. Can you comment on that at all? Tell me what's going on.
That was quite something. What's happening with the whole canopy control thing has affected the team, and they've been doing a lot of coaching, and basically they're having to turn work away. Plus, they realize they're not 20 anymore. And so it's basically a way to look for more talent to expand the team, or maybe to allow the other team members to go on to other things. I was there for the first day and the last day of those tryouts. It was really something. The people that were involved in that, whether they're on the team or not, they'll take away some experiences that they will never forget. I think we've got 4 really great people on the team expansion, and I'm looking forward to what they're doing. The details of what they're doing at this point are a mystery to me, because the team is going to do what the team's going to do.
Right. Well, it looked like they had a real tough choice between all the people that came out to compete and audition for the team. It was like I would not have wanted to be in their shoes based on the video and the online blogs and comments I've heard from people that were involved. That must have been difficult.
They actually, on the night that they were going to choose the team, they actually asked me to come over to their room, and I tell you, it was pretty darn heavy in that room. And they were wanting some advice or some encouragement, and I stayed completely out of the actual choice, but I basically said, you guys know what you're doing, do it. Just do it. We'll be there for you. You be there for us. And it worked out. So
good. I'm glad to hear that. That whole process, I think, was very intriguing to people that are watching, especially people that don't know what was going on the inside. And for those of us watching, those of us that can only dream about what's going on there, or at least we admire it. It was quite an exciting time to see people. I mean, it's kind of akin to the NFL having an open call, saying we'll welcome any and everybody that can meet this set of criteria, and that was something else. And you grabbed some people that you probably didn't expect, or I should say that the team probably didn't expect to come out of the woodwork, and you got something great going on.
Well, the thing is that they were looking, of course, for excellent canopy pilots, but they also were looking for a certain type of synergy that would work within the team. It's hard to be a team if you're at each other's throats. So there was a lot of work on both flying the canopies, being with one another, a lot of time out there in that isolated location. And I think all of the people that were involved in the tryouts got to know each other better than they ever expected. that's why I say that everybody brings something away from that
Right,
experience.
Right. Well, fabulous. Well, congratulations to PD for the new products and to everything that you've been doing so far. Looking forward to what comes up in the remainder of 2009 and 2010. And we'll be looking for you back here again in a couple of years.
Great. Sounds
Thanks,
good.
John.
Thank you very much.
Back at you.